Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We will call to order the regular meeting and agenda of the Miami Special Utility Authority for Tuesday, May the 7th, 2013 at 6 p.m. here in the Miami Civic Center, filed in the office of the city clerk and posted in the main lobby in the north outside entryway of the Miami Civic Center at 2:15 p.m. on May the 3rd, 2013. The trust may discuss, consider, and vote on any item listed in this agenda. 1, we are now called to order. Item number 2 is the consent agenda. Gentlemen, if you look at that, you have items A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, and I.
If there's no discussion, make a motion to approve as presented.
I'll second, Mayor.
Trustee Tressler?
Aye.
Trustee Johnson?
Aye.
Trustee Schultz?
Aye.
Trustee Sharbit?
Aye.
Chairman Kitcher?
Aye. All ayes. Those items A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, and I have passed. Item 3, public input and unscheduled personal appearance. Anybody want to address this body? Being none, that's good. Item 4, recommendation to the Miami City Council regarding ordinance amending electric service rates effective July the 1st, 2013 by David Roundtree. Hi, David.
Mr. Mayor, Council, at April the 10th of 2013, Grand River Dam Authority approved a rate change effective July the 1st of 2013 for all their customers. Of those changes, GRDA moved a 1 cent or 10 mils from their base energy rate from the PCA, rate, which will increase their new KWH rate by 1 cent. And basically what happens is this takes back in 1980 when they first built the coal-fired plant, their rate was set, and because of coal costs and everything, it continued to go up and up and up, and they moved those charges off into their PCA, their power cost adjustment. What they're doing now is truing it back up, bringing those rates back into the kilowatt hour rate where it should be, and lowering their PCA rate. So effectively, what's going to happen, the net effect when this is done to the city from GRDA will be zero. There will be no effect, either increase or decrease from this rate to us. Because we passed GRDA's power cost adjustment rate straight through to our citizens through a purchase power adjustment or PPA rate, plus the losses that we have to adjust our rate to match what GRDA is doing. If we don't, we will not collect enough on our PPA rate to offset this 1 cent. So therefore, there's an ordinance attached with my recommendation that changes section 2464, our billing tables, to match this 1 cent increase, to take it from our PPA and put it into our KWH rate. And our attorney has reviewed this, and it's ready to go.
We're simply seeking a recommendation from the Board of Trustees to the City Council. I understand you sit ex officio and are a councilman, but nonetheless, it's important procedurally to process it through the MSUA before presentation to the council.
Jeff?
Yes, sir. This is, as David indicated, is no financial impact whatsoever. So we're just requesting is basically house changing. We're just kind of flipping it. We're going to get billed from GRDA like we always have. It's just that we've gotten 2 different categories and we need to move it just like they have.
But the important thing to note is no increase to our customers.
Yes, that's correct, Mr. Mayor.
As David explained it to me in conferences before this went on the agenda, and David, correct me if I'm wrong, it's almost like a change in a definition. But the bottom line is, it doesn't change the bottom line for the customer.
That's correct.
Good. Any further discussion, gentlemen?
Make a motion to approve as presented, Mayor.
Second?
Trustee Tressler?
Aye.
Trustee Sharbit?
Aye.
Trustee Johnson?
Aye.
Trustee Schultz?
Aye.
Chairman Kitcher?
Aye. All ayes. That has passed. Thank you, David. Yes, sir. Item 5, other new business, if any, which had risen since the posting of the agenda and could not have been anticipated prior to the time of a posting. Any new business, gentlemen? None. Item 6, Trustee Community announcements and signing of approved documents. Any announcements? Staff reports. You have written reports in your packet. We have staff present. Is there any questions to the staff under item 7? Staff, you're making out. Item 8, adjournment.
Motion to adjourn, Mayor.
Second.
Trustee Tressler?
Aye.
Trustee Sharbit?
Aye.
Trustee Johnson?
Aye.
Trustee Schultz? Chairman Ketcher?
Aye. We are adjourned at 6:05 PM. Thank you, Jill. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We will call to order the regular meeting agenda of the Miami City Council for Tuesday, May the 7th, 2013 at 6:15 PM. Filed in the office of the city clerk and posted in the main lobby in the north outside entryway of the Miami Civic Center at 4 PM on May the 3rd, 2013. The council may discuss, consider, and vote on any item listed in the agenda. We are now called to order. Item number 2, we have Pastor Phil Shires here. He's going to start off with our prayer, and if you'll remain standing, we'll do the Pledge of Allegiance.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. It's an honor to be here today representing the Ministerial Alliance. And if we could, in our prayers, remember the family of Charles Banks Wilson, you know, the honorable Miamian, the great American Oklahoman that's passed. Let's remember his family in prayer and all those in our community that are hurting and going through difficult times. If you'd bow your head with me. Father, we thank you so much for being here today, and we witness your goodness and your greatness in our town, and we ask you just let your grace be upon these men and women that basically are doing your business and for the good of our citizens, of our community. Father, we ask you, Lord, to watch over the police department and the fire department, all the let your hand be just hand of protection be upon all those civil servants that are actually serving your people in the citizens of Miami, Oklahoma. We ask God just let your grace just abound on us and bless our economy, bless our town, bless the businesses. Just continue to open up doors of blessing so that we can serve you in a better way. We thank you for this opportunity, Lord, and ask your blessings in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Pastor. Yeah, that was a sudden shock to the citizens of Miami when Charles Banks Wilson's passed away from this world. I had the pleasure of knowing him, and my son really enjoyed knowing him, and he often, when we'd come back from St. Louis, he always went by to see Mr. Wilson at his studio. And because my boy went to the University of Chicago and Mr. Wilson went to the Art Institute there, and they're not that far apart. They always had something to share, and of course, as always, and I'm sure many of you have, you've got Charles Banks Wilson's photos in your home. So it's a sad day on that, but he'll be remembered in a good way. Okay, number 4, citizens input and unscheduled personal appearance. Do we have any citizen input and unscheduled personal appearances? None. Item 5, meeting minutes for April 2nd and 16th for 2013.
Motion to approve. I'll second, Mayor.
Councilman Schultz?
Aye.
Councilman Johnson?
Aye.
Councilman Sharbit?
Aye.
Councilman Tressler?
Aye.
Mayor Ketcher?
Aye. All ayes, so that has passed. Item 5. 6 is presentation to Councilman Scott Tressler from the Miami Middle School. Do we have a Mr. Gibson and students here? Come right up. Hello, how are you all tonight?
Hello, and we're good, thank you. We have a plaque to present for Scott Tressler. This is just as an honor of your service for Miami.
Oh, well, thank you. Here, let me come around front.
Can you read?
Scott.
You need to read it.
Let's see, this says, here we go into the microphone.
I see some trees on there.
Yeah.
Might be a hint.
The theme from my stolen quote is carried out on this plaque. There are lots of trees. It says, Scott Trussler, City Council Member, January 5th, 2004 to May 7th, 2013. Thanks for your service and for planting trees under which future generations may enjoy the shade. Presented with sincere appreciation, Miami City Council staff and citizens. Thank you very much.
Okay,
Just-
item
just-
7.
If I could, just as
Sure.
a comment, that was made by the TSA Club on their laser.
Ah.
So that was actually
Well,
engraved with the
I
laser.
looked at this and I thought, that's not the average shop project there.
No.
That's neat.
Okay, item 7. Administration of oath of office for Doug Weston and Rudy Schultz. David Anderson.
Thank you, Your Honor. If you two gentlemen would like, I would ask that you, as we've done in the past, perhaps stand before the table here, and I'll ask you to raise your hands. If possible, the press might take a photograph, and that way they can catch you with your swearing to tell the truth.
Smile, boys.
I, Rudy Schultz,
Do solemnly swear or affirm
solemnly swear or affirm
that I will support, obey, and defend
that I will support, obey, and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Oklahoma,
and the Constitution of the State of Oklahoma,
and that I will not
and that I will not
knowingly
knowingly
receive directly or indirectly
receive directly or indirectly
any money or other valuable thing
any money or other valuable thing
for the performance or non-performance
for the performance or non-performance
of any act or duty
of any act or duty
pertaining to my office
pertaining to my office,
other than the compensation allowed by law.
other than the compensation allowed by law.
I further swear or affirm
I further swear or affirm
that I will faithfully discharge,
that I will faithfully discharge,
according to the best of my ability,
according to the best of my ability,
the duties of my office
the duties of my office
during such time
during such time
as I am a member of the City Council
as I am a member of the City Council
and the Board of Trustees of the Miami Special Utility Authority
and the Board of Trustees of Miami Special Utility Authority
of the City of Miami, Oklahoma.
of the City of Miami, Oklahoma.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thanks for all your service. Thank you for our citizens.
Can you flip out the names?
Thank you, Scott.
Come up here, Doug, we've got you a warm chair.
The names?
You have his.
Congratulations again, Rudy.
Thank you, Scott.
Can you flip out the names for me there? Scott?
Keep an eye on me.
Thanks, Joe.
Yeah.
We'll surplus that, Councilman.
Allowable by law, sir?
Yeah. We need paperwork on that. Okay, thank you. Item 8, consent agenda. The following items are on the consent agenda. All items listed under the consent agenda are deemed to be non-controversial and routine in nature by the governing board. They will be approved by one motion of the Miami City Council. The items on the consent agenda will not be discussed. Any member of the governing board desiring to discuss an item on the consent agenda may request that it be removed from the consent agenda and placed in its proper order on the regular agenda. Any member of the governing board can also move to add items from the regular agenda to the consent agenda and make one motion and vote to approve. Gentlemen, on the consent agenda tonight, you have items A, B, C, D, E, F, and G.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Councilman Schultz?
Aye.
Councilman Sharbit?
Aye.
Councilman Johnson?
Aye.
Councilman Weston.
Aye.
Mayor Ketcher.
Aye. All ayes. Those items, A, B, C, D, E, F, and G, have been approved. Item 9, authorize the mayor's signature on ordinance amending the electric service rates effective July the 1st, 2013. David Roundtree.
Mr. Mayor and Councilman, on April the 10th of 2013, GRDA voted to approve a rate change effective July the 1st of 2013 for all their customers. This rate change, among others, one of the changes in this rate is a change in their power cost adjustment, which is known as PCA, to move part of their base cost from their power cost adjustment into their kilowatt hour rate. This is effectively 1 cent or 10 mils, and it moves from one to the other, and the net effect is zero. There's no change to us as far as the rate goes. But we pass this power cost adjustment or PCA rate on to our citizens and businesses through an adjustment called purchase power adjustment or PPA. You'll see on your bills. This is passed straight through with the addition of the losses that have to be added to it. But anyway, the way that we do this straight through pass, we have to mirror what GRDA did to come out to a net effect of zero from our citizens and to our citizens. So my recommendation is to approve an ordinance that allows this 1 cent or 10 mils to be increase our kilowatt hour rate by 1 cent or 10 mils, which will be reduced through our purchase power adjustment. The net effect will be zero to our citizens. Our attorney, David Anderson, has reviewed this. David, would you like to make any comments?
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, the technical language that Mr. Roundtree is referring to is something that he has the expertise to understand, and I trust his explanation. What I take away from this most importantly is that the amendment to the ordinance is necessary to make sure that our rates for our customers do not change, but that we use our terminology in a way that is consistent with the way GRDA uses that terminology when they sell us power. My recommendation is your approval.
Nothing to add, Your Honor.
If there's no further discussion, I'll make a motion to approve, Mayor.
Second.
Councilman Johnson.
Aye.
Councilman Schultz.
Aye.
Councilman Sharbit.
Aye.
Councilman Weston.
Aye.
Mayor Ketcher.
Aye. All ayes. That has passed. Thank you, David. Again. Item 10, briefing on Miami Special Utility Authority Street Program. Jeff Bishop.
Thank you, Your Honor. Tonight, Chuck Childs and I are going to tag team on this. Chuck is going to give the basic presentation, but I have a few things I want to add to it. And while he's walking up here to the podium, with Tyler, I guess Tyler,
With Tyler also.
his partner in crime, I want to comment on a fact that we hear quite a bit that comes back to us, that there is a time limit on completing the street program. And the reality is there is no time limit. There is a time limit imposed by the IRS that requires us to commit funds from our bond escrow or trust fund by no later than 1 year after the issuance of the bonds. But once you do that, there is no time limit on how long it takes you to get the bond proceeds expended. So if there is a concern in the community that the project is going to drag on to the point that we're going to lose the funding, that is not correct. We will expend every dollar. We may not every penny, but we will every dollar in that trust fund before we're done. So without further ado, I'll turn this over to Chuck and to Tyler.
Before you do that,
Yeah?
there is a very commonly held assumption that the money had to be spent within 3 years, and we're in that third year. And I think that's the assumption that you're referring to, although you talked about a different time frame of 1 year.
Yes.
So you're telling me that this assumption about 3 years is incorrect.
We, based on conversations that we've had with bond counsel,
Okay.
bond counsel has informed us that there is no time limit on expending the balance of the funds. There is an IRS imposed time limit of 1 year to commit to spend the funds. But we have quite a bit of evidence that we have been regularly drawing down
So
those
the
funds.
distinction is there's not a 3-year limit on using up all the funds. There was a 1-year clock ticking to begin the process. Once that's begun, then you have, I'm not gonna say an unlimited amount of time, but you don't, not necessarily under the gun to spend those funds at the end of the 3 years.
This is what bond counsel has told us.
Okay.
Okay. Right now in the project balance, we have about $4.5 million of funds left over. The first packet that's going to be coming out shortly here involves 8 streets, and we'll go over those in a little more detail, or Tyler will go over those. But we anticipate about half the funds being spent for those projects. These are engineering plans. Anderson Engineering's been drawing up, and again, we anticipate to have those out here shortly, out for bids and construction probably the end of June. And I'll let Tyler go through the specific streets.
Like Chuck said, you can see the first 6 streets there that we have plans on, and we had the Planning Commission and the Street Committee both approve these streets and the plans for these. So we can just go ahead and start from the first one. B Street Northwest from Goodrich Boulevard to Mama Boulevard. This street is going to be concrete because of if you notice the street, there's just not a lot of elevation on it, so water can stand on concrete a lot better than it can on asphalt. So we decided to do concrete on it. On the second one, B Street Northwest from 11th to BJ Tunnel. This one right here, we've also decided to do concrete on, just because of the same problem of the lack of drainage. And this one should hold up good because the semis should not be traveling down it as much since Marvin's has moved across. And we're also going to bid out, in phase 1 they had real good luck with using fly ash as the base, and it was a lot cheaper, about half the price of using rock. So we're going to bid the project out as using fly ash with rock or rock alone to see which one, type A ag base, to see which one is cheaper. I Street Northwest from 3rd to Dead End. This one we're going to do asphalt because it has really good drainage, and replace a little bit of curb on this one.
Now, you are changing the grade on that, are you not?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Just so you know, this is the street that when they were giving me a tour of the streets, we actually high centered on. So,
Since there's change of grade involved, is that something that will be presented to the Planning Commission, or has been presented?
It has been presented.
Thank you.
I think there was a cave-in on that road too at one time, wasn't there?
Yes, sir.
A long time ago.
I have a question. You're talking about streets. Is there any way that you can tell us how many blocks of that street that involves?
That would be kind of hard because as an engineer, you don't really talk about blocks. You talk about feet.
Yeah, streets.
Checkmate. Because all of our blocks are different sizes, so I hate to use the term blocks.
Well, I know last year when we were having trouble, when we had a lot of uncovered streets down the base, it was mentioned, well, we have a street. Well, that street was like 6 or 7 blocks.
Yes,
that
sir.
the fire department couldn't get in, and the police department if they had a problem there. So, okay, I'm sorry, go right ahead.
Next time we come back, we'll have it by blocks. The fourth one, 4th Avenue Southwest from Main to Railroad Tracks. This is the one everyone knows it's real rough to travel on. I believe the fire trucks travel on this a lot from the south plant, so this will be a good one. And this is also going to be concrete. It looks like from looking at the road and from their study, it was previously concrete, and they're going to go back with concrete. Number 5, Harvard Avenue from Rockdale Boulevard to Dead End. This one's going to be asphalt. This was the one that most people complain about. Seems like it gets.
That's Amanda Street.
And then the last one, G Street Northwest from BJ Tunnel to Wee Drive.
just as a comment, when we were moving to the community and looking at houses, we came very close to buying a house on Harvard Avenue. But I ultimately decided not to because I couldn't do that to the neighbors because I wouldn't be able to pave the street then if I had bought a house on it. So I passed on that house. My apologies to the homeowners, but hopefully they'll enjoy the street.
So I know the street committee gets a lot of questions on why we're doing asphalt concrete. Most of the reason we do concrete is because of drainage, because Miami is so flat. We have such poor soils. If you have 2 fixed points, you can only do so much in between. So the water can sit on the concrete better than it can the asphalt.
Did the street committee have any concerns with other roads? I mean, did they bring up other roads you should be doing, or
No, really not.
they were fine with these?
Yeah, but let's follow up on that though. This is just a sample of the top 6 from the list that we've developed
Yes, sir.
for all streets that are included in the program. And just because we're bringing these 6 streets to you tonight doesn't mean this is the end of the program. As I indicated, it goes on. So we will have further proposals to you in the future. This is the package that is complete from the consultant, and I think that's what this slide is about.
Right, we anticipated next month coming with another list of streets, another packet 2, let's say, of projects still under the street program that we have under the current funding that we have. This is just the first packet that's coming out this summer.
And we'll also be doing crack sealing again crack sealing is real good, preventive maintenance to keep water from entering the base, because once water gets into the base, then it's pretty much gone. So
Why is that?
just because it's just like a mud hole. If you ever think about, you drive through a mud hole in your yard back and forth, it just keeps getting bigger and bigger because
It's called pumping.
Pumping, yes, sir.
You know, freeze thaw, and the water gets down there. It can freeze and lift the asphalt, and then when you drive over it, when it does thaw and there's a void underneath it, your car literally pushes the asphalt, which by the way is a liquid, and it pumps and eventually gives way, and you've got a pothole. But you know, we have a lot of really newer streets in the community, and I say new, that have been overlaid in like the last 10 years. If you drive along those streets and you look at all those little cracks that you see on the street, that is the first sign of a street that's about to start failing. Even though it looks really good and it's in great shape, but if we don't get a moisture barrier into those cracks, we will get water underneath there and we'll start losing that road.
Like
So,
on 22nd.
like on 22nd. 22nd's an excellent example of a road that's in real danger. It looks good compared to all the streets that we have in Miami. It certainly does look good, but it's in danger of failure in the short term. So we want to try to get those type roads sealed up. We had this conversation last time about the slurry seal that looks like a paint job. Well, it is. It's basically we're attempting to extend the lives of streets that don't need reconstruction, but if we did a little maintenance attention to them, we can extend them much longer. It's based on a triage concept.
So, Jeff or Tyler or Chuck, are you saying then that these are the roads that required significant reconstruction, the slurry seal and crack seal and all that stuff? You're going to be doing that to a lot of streets that you're not necessarily presenting to us in these packages. This is the major reconstruction.
This is the major
that
reconstruct streets.
fair description? Okay.
Jeff, if I remember right, last night on our old website, they used to have what streets they were doing and when they was going to do it. Is that back on our new website, or going to be, or?
Right. I don't know that we had the when we're going to do it. Soon, trademark, but not specific dates. But we do have a list that we're going to put back on the website. We don't know how it didn't get back on the new website, but we do have an expanded list where both the street committee and the planning commission have ranked what the priorities are in the community. We often get asked that question, you know, how do you go about determining what road should receive attention? Well, we could hire someone to come do a study, but I don't think anyone could get it wrong. I'm sad to say they all need attention. So we're painfully aware of how bad they are and how many there are that are bad, and we're doing what we can, but we do not have an inexhaustive source of money. So that's why we have these citizen committees help us in the prioritization.
I'd like to make it clear too, because I've had a couple of phone calls and people has talked to me. The construction going on at the college has nothing to do with our street program here. They're asking me why our city employees out there working on a college project when we don't have our streets finished. I said, well, that's not true. It's the day and night, they don't connect. Now, they've been out there taking poles down and doing some things electrical, but they're not gonna construct the stadium and all that kind of thing, so whoever starts those rumors, I wish they wouldn't.
Well, if I may, Mayor, one of the questions that I'm frequently asked as city attorney, and it may arise at a dinner table, in the checkout line at a store, and that is, are any of the funds for the street program that were approved by the taxpayer as part of the sales tax measure, are any of those funds being diverted to any other purpose? And I think some people may have misunderstood that question as it pertained to the extension of the .65 tax for the MCFA Red Robertson Field project. And to the extent that anybody may still be wondering whether any of the funds approved by the taxpayers for the street program are going to be diverted to any other purpose, the answer as a matter of law is emphatically no, they will not. Every dollar that was funded for road work, street work, will be spent for street work, and absolutely none of those funds could lawfully or will be diverted to any other purpose. And from time to time, I think it's important to reiterate that because, again, people wonder sometimes.
Well, perhaps from a clarification standpoint, there's a perception sometimes that the sales tax creates the funding that is used to pay for the streets. Sort of. Actually, what it does is it pays the debt service on the bonds that were issued. We use that sales tax to pay debt service. The bonds were all issued. The full amount was issued. The full amount of the proceeds from those bonds, less issuance costs and administrative fees, is in the trust account, and the trust account is only used to pay for projects that are authorized in the program. So all of those funds have been issued. All of those funds are accounted for in a trust fund. So that is self-contained at this point. The Red Robinson project is a separate project that will use that sales tax cash flow once the street bonds have been paid down to the point that they can be called and refinanced. It will not impact the project size or scope.
Further comments?
Thank you.
This is just an informational proceeding. This is a project of the Miami Special Utility Authority. We presented this to you tonight. The Utility Authority is issuing the bid solicitation and stuff, so that won't be, there was no required action for you tonight.
Yep. Thank you, gentlemen, for the briefing. Item 11, authorize city manager to submit letter to various federal entities transferring city economic development portfolio program to the Miami Area Economic Development Service. Jeff?
Your Honor, this item, as you know, MAIDS currently manages the city's portfolio of economic development loan funds. Most of those are from the EDA. We have some from HUD, and we have some from the Rural Development Administration. We currently allow MAIDS to administer those funds and collect the interest from it, and then they can use the interest for administrative purposes. After having consultations with these federal agencies and the state auditor's office, there really is no sense for the city to retain ownership of those. It only complicates our accounting. So we are recommending to you tonight that we authorize these federal agencies to transfer ownership of those funds to MAIDS. This does not change any of the federal agencies' oversight of those funds. They have the same oversight with MAIDS that they would have had with us. There's also the fact that in order to make loans from these funds, you have to have a special certification The city has nobody on staff that does that. So accordingly, staff is requesting authorization for me to sign letters and send them to these federal agencies transferring those funds.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Councilman Schultz?
Aye.
Councilman Sharbit?
Aye.
Councilman Weston?
Aye.
Councilman Johnson?
Aye.
Mayor Ketcher?
Aye. All ayes. Item 11 has been approved. Thank you, Jeff. 12, authorize mayor's signature on EST Incorporated Bridge Inspection Invoice, $3,071, and EST's report of conference between a bridge owner and a bridge inspection consultant. Chuck?
Thank you, Mayor. First of all, these kind of invoices I like to bring before you because even though it's an invoice, the city is not paying for the invoice. The federal government, through the bridge program, is paying for that. But we're going to acknowledge it and improve it so that the consultant can get paid. Every year, every 2 years, every bridge in Oklahoma is inspected. We have a couple bridges, the Rockdale Bridge and the recently constructed Central Avenue Bridge, that are on the 6-month cycle because of concerns. ODOT has consultants that they pre-qualify, and then the city selects those consultants to come in and do our bridge selections. EST was our consultant. And again, right now the program is set up. In the past it's been different than this, but the federal funds pay for 100% of these bridge inspection services. Next slide. Again, on November 8th, they inspected the Rockdale Bridge and the Central Avenue Bridge. Even though Central Avenue was technically under construction and being built, it's on the cycle. They have to inspect it. So that was done. On the 16th of April 2013, EST staff reviewed the reports with City Miami staff and went over the reports that they did. And as a part of that review process, they asked the city to acknowledge the conference between the consultant and the City Miami staff, which we're coming before tonight as the mayor's being the city official to sign that document. And then the other item is to approve the invoice. Again, more of acknowledging the invoice. There's a place for us to sign off on that so it can be processed. And that's shown on the next slide, I believe, yeah. It's just partial that, again, city official signing off on that. So again, here tonight, we're here to ask for the council's request to, in the mayor's signature on EST's invoice for the inspection invoice and EST's report conference between bridge owner and bridge inspection consultant.
That bridge we're going to have to tear down, aren't we?
The Rockdale Bridge?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it's that option would be much more economical than trying to rebuild that. In the package you received, there was pictures of the underside of the bridge there, and as you know, right now, a portion of it is closed off to traffic, and that reason is the steel beams underneath that portion are in disrepair and need to be changed out. The irony of it is the addition that was added on, which includes that steel beam and that portion of the bridge, is much newer than the old concrete section that's still there, and that's not under. But yes, and we presently have a consultant looking at that, looking at options for the Rockdale Bridge right now.
Our East Central Bridge, we're going to have maintenance on that, and if this bridge is replaced, we're going to have maintenance there. That's because that's the reason why both of them has failed, lack of maintenance, right?
Yes, one of the things we're working on is a bridge maintenance program. There's things identified in their inspection reports of items that we need to address, working with Public Works and to address those issues.
When you look at those bridges, you don't think they move, but they're moving all the time under various weather conditions. So you have to do certain things and keep them painted. Yep. Okay. Further questions, gentlemen?
Motion to approve.
Second, Mayor.
Councilman Sharbit?
Aye.
Councilman Johnson?
Aye.
Councilman Schultz?
Aye.
Councilman Weston?
Aye.
Mayor Ketcher?
Aye. All ayes. Item 12 is passed.
Thank you.
Chuck. 13, other new business, if any, which has arisen since the posting of the agenda and could not have been anticipated prior to the time of posting. Do we have any new business? David? Jeff?
No, sir.
Anything?
Oh, yeah.
Gentlemen? Okay, item 14, staff reports. In your packets, on your iPads, you have information. We have staff present. Do you have any questions on our staff?
No, sir, I don't.
Okay. 15, mayor and council community announcements and signing of approved documents. Do you gentlemen have anything you wish to say
I
to
just
our
wanna-
community?
I just want to welcome Doug aboard.
I want,
I second that.
we don't vote on that, do we?
You're stuck.
Well, it's an honor to get to have the opportunity to serve the city of Miami and to be a part of this team. And I know Scott's inputs, he set the bar pretty high, but we're going to take the torch and move on. So I really appreciate the opportunity to work
Okay.
with each one of you.
Well, we're glad to have you.
Thank you.
Okay, next, item 16, executive
Your Honor,
session.
You did have a proclamation.
Oh, yes, that's right. Thank you, Jeff. Yes, City of Miami proclamation, Cystic Fibrosis Foundation Great Strides Day. Whereas the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation was established in 1955 to assure the development of the means to cure and control cystic fibrosis and to improve the quality of life for those with the disease, and whereas cystic fibrosis is a genetic disease affecting approximately 30,000 people in the United States, and whereas the Great Strides of Miami event benefiting the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation would like to honor the Miami community and cystic fibrosis patients, friends, and family. Now therefore be it resolved that Mayor Kent Ketcher and the Miami City Council do hereby declare June the 8th, 2013 as Cystic Fibrosis Foundation Great Strides Day. In witness thereof, I have hereto set my hand and caused the seal of the city of Miami, Oklahoma to be affixed with the 7th day of May in the year of our Lord 2013. And I have signed that proclamation. I'll give it to Jeff, and he'll send it to the proper people. Okay. Item 16, executive session. Pursuant to 25 OS Section 307B2 for purposes of discussing negotiation concerning employees and representatives of employees pursuant to 25 OS Section 307E, the City Council may not go into executive session unless the executive session is authorized by majority vote of a quorum of the members present, and the vote is a recorded vote. Neither public body may take any vote or any action on any item of business considered in an executive session except in a public meeting with the vote of each member publicly cast and honored. Tonight, there's negotiations considering employees and representatives of employee group, to wit, Fraternal Order of Police, FOP Lodge Number 121, and the International Association of Firefighters, IAFF Local 1969, authorized under Title 25 OS Section 307B2. Gentlemen, I need a motion and a second to go into executive session.
Make a motion.
Second.
Councilman Sharbit?
Aye.
Councilman Weston?
Aye.
Councilman Johnson?
Aye.
Councilman Schultz?
Aye.
Mayor Kitcher?
Aye. All ayes. We are on executive session at 6:52 p.m.
Your Honor, staff is recommending that we adjourn to the admin conference room for this session.
We back on, Tim? Gentlemen, it's 7:54. We're out of executive session. And the last item on our agenda tonight is adjournment.
Motion to adjourn, Mayor.
I'll second that.
Councilman Schultz?
Aye.
Councilman Weston?
Aye.
Councilman Sharbit?
Aye.
Councilman Johnson?
Aye.
Mayor Kitcher?
Aye. All ayes. We are adjourned at